Welcome back. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. For 40 years, our next guest has rubbed elbows with some of Hollywood's most famous celebrities, and now he's spilling all the tea in a brand new book. Please welcome to the show the author of Flirting with Fame, Dan Harary. Hi, Dan.
Hey, Jason. How are you, man?
Okay. I always like to acknowledge and appreciate a great interview background. You have, my friend, that is a background right there. Are those some of your celeb encounters, my friend?
You mean on my walls behind me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, most of those photos are in the book, Jason, as well.
Well, okay, let me go through for people that, okay, so you've been a publicist for 40 years. You came to Hollywood in what, 1980, Dan?
I came to Hollywood in 1980. I was 24 years old. I had no car, no connections, no money. I had a friend who let me sleep on her couch for 1 year on Venice Beach.
Well,
and it took me a few years to stumble and bumble into Hollywood, but I got a job early on at the American Film Institute, which was a great place to work at that time.
And that's how you got into, because I always wonder, how people become a publicist, how that road to that particular job.
Well, that's a great question. I'm still wondering that myself, Jason. I came here to be a comedy writer. I was always funny in high school. I was the class clown. So I used to write spec TV scripts when I was in my 20s. And I came to Hollywood with scripts, and I tried for years and years to be a TV comedy writer. It just didn't work out. I didn't have the luck. I had the talent, connections, and the persistence. I didn't have the luck. So I worked at the American Film Institute for a few years as a secretary. And then I saw an ad, believe it or not, Jason, at the Playboy channel for a publicist. Now, I knew about publicity because I had worked briefly at Columbia Pictures in Manhattan after college. So I knew about PR basically, and I'm working with Hugh Hefner at the Playboy Mansion for 2.5 years, and that was really quite cool.
Well,
that's how I stumbled there.
There's an entry-level position, let me tell you. Yeah. Now, obviously, I want people to buy the book. Again, it's right. You can see it behind Dan. It's called Flirting with Fame. It's right there on your screen. All the stories are in there, but I want to talk about a few encounters. Let's start with the boss at a very early age. Is it true you met him when he was 15, or when did you meet him?
When I was 15.
You were 15.
Yeah. He's 7 years older than me. I'm from Asbury Park, New Jersey, the Jersey Shore. That's where I grew up. That's where Bruce Springsteen and his band gelled, and that's where they used to play, Jason, at bars and pubs for years and years. So when I was in high school, I had long hair. I played the drums. You can probably see my drums behind me now. And I worked at a concert hall called the Sunshine Inn, and Bruce Springsteen was the house band at the Sunshine Inn. So from 1973 is when I knew Bruce. I worked with him in 1973. He was not famous. It's 2 years before Born to Run, and he was a nice guy. He used to sleep on the beach. He didn't have a car. And if you know who Clarence Clemons was, the sax, Clarence Clemons asked me and my best friend, this is a true story, if we wanted to go on the road with them and be their road crew. And I said, Clarence, we're 16, we don't drive, and our fathers want us to go to college.
Oh, no!
Yeah, true story. I swear to God, that's a true story.
Did you know, Dan, let me ask you, because I was in Hawaii about a year ago, and I'm sitting there at the Royal Hawaiian Bar, and I was talking to a bartender who had been there for 40 years and had watched Bruno Mars perform at that bar every weekend. And she said she knew, even watching him in that setting, at a resort bar, that she knew there was something there by the way the audience reacted. I mention this because did you get that sense with Bruce?
It's very funny. No, actually not at all. My best friend and I, we worked at this place together. We were into The Who and Led Zeppelin and Cream and 10 Years After and all these heavy metal rock bands in the early 70s. Bruce was singing about madmen, bummers, drummers, and Indians in the summer, and from Blinded by the Light. We had no idea what he was talking about. So I was not a fan of Bruce's music until many, many, many years later. I didn't see it coming, but I have a friend named Eric who now lives in San Diego, and he loved Bruce from day one. Bruce used to eat at his house with his parents. And Eric said, Danny, someday Bruce is going to be the Beatles. And I said, no way, man, no way. And Eric, my friend Eric, called it. He knew.
I love that. Because usually, like I said, usually you hear these stories and it ends the way mine did, of the bartender going, oh, I knew he was going to be something. I love that you weren't even a fan. That's hysterical. Okay, luckily we have Dan for another segment because I have so many more questions, including,
Sure.
Yeah, he encountered or knows one of my lifelong crushes. I'm going to ask him about Victoria Principal and more when we come back. Back in a moment, everybody. Stay with us. Welcome back to the show, my dear friends. I'm loving this conversation. We're talking to Dan Harary, talking celebs in his new book, Flirting with Fame. Okay, I want to get right to it because I have so many questions. Let's start with my girlfriend. I've had a crush on her since Dallas, Victoria Principal. What can you tell me, Dan?
Okay, well, it's a very funny story. I had just come to LA in October 1980. Like I said, Jason, I had no money, no car, I had no job. I was walking to the unemployment office. Literally, I had $6 to my name. Walking to the unemployment office in Culver City, and I see cameras and lights and trucks with cables going into a building. And I had no idea what that was. So I just walked into the building, and they were shooting a scene from Dallas. And in this scene from Dallas, Patrick Duffy was on the stage. Apparently he was running for Congress or something.
He's running for Senate, yes.
Senate. So he's making a speech and people are cheering. And I'm just hidden in the corner, man, against the wall. I didn't want to be kicked out. And I hear, hi, how are you? And I turn and Victoria Principal was flirting with me. Victoria, I'm penniless. I have $6, right? I am a nobody. And she goes, hi, how are you? And I'm like, I looked around. I was like, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? So I said, Victoria, oh my God, it's so nice to see you. And so we chatted for briefly a little bit. And then when the action ended, I was thinking, ask her for her phone number, ask her out for a date. And I'm like, you don't have a car, you don't have a job, you don't have any money, you have nothing. So, I did it. It turns out she was dating Steven Spielberg at the time. So.
Oh, you know what's pathetic, Dan? We just showed a picture years later. What's pathetic about that encounter? I love Dallas so much. I know what she was wearing in your encounter, and I know that she had a perm in that scene. That's how sad my life is. I can tell you, yeah.
That's probably true.
Yeah. Let's talk, another, and again, I want people, go get the book. I just want Dan to touch on these stories because I want you to go get this book and read them in general. Right there, Kirsten Dunst, we can go on and on. But tell everybody, if you will, your little disaster with Meryl Streep.
Okay, well, yeah, that's probably my most classic interaction. I was at a photo shoot 1990 for a TV show called The Earth Day Special. I was one of the publicists for that show. Kevin Costner was at the photo shoot, nicest guy in the world, easy to talk to. So I spoke to him for a while. And then people are eating lunch and people go, she's here, she's here, she's here, she's here. And I go, who's here? Meryl Streep. I go, Meryl Streep's here? I didn't know. No one told me she was coming. So a very long line of people, literally, Jason, 25 people lined up in a line as though they were going to meet the Queen of England. They're lined up. And Meryl Streep walks in, she opens the door, she's in white. She's like, oh, you hear like the angels sing, oh, like harps are playing, the angels are singing. She's the biggest star on the planet. So she comes in from the outside and starts shaking the hands of all the people that were in the line. And I'm the very last guy at the end. And my heart was beating, I'm shaking. And I have no idea why. I'm not even a fan of Meryl Streep, but I was so nervous that she was there. So she's shaking hands, shaking hands. The person standing next to me was a woman named Carla. So Carla goes, Miss Streep, it's so nice to meet you. My name is Carla. And then Meryl Streep comes to me, Jason, shakes my hand. And I'm so nervous, I say to Meryl Streep, hello, Carla, my name is Dan, nice to meet you.
You called Meryl Streep Carla?
I swear on my life, I called Meryl Streep Carla. So she looked at me like the RCA Victor dog. She turned her head and said no words, pulled her hand out of the handshake, turned and walked away. The rest of the day, she avoided me like I was Lee Harvey Oswald.
Hey, Dan, we have about 30 left. I know this is one of those silly questions that you're going to get asked on every press stop, but I really am, I mean this. It's like picking kids, but for whatever reason, maybe a connection, maybe personality. Oh, who has been kind of your favorite celeb that holds a special place in your heart for whatever reason?
I'll have to say Dee Wallace, actress Dee Wallace. Do you remember her? She was the star in E.T.
Yeah, E.T.'s mom.
E.T.'s mom. She was the star of a TV show called The New Lassie. The New Lassie. In 1990, I was the publicist. She and I became very good friends. Long story short, my wife was very ill with my daughter. When my wife was pregnant with my daughter, she was very, very ill. Dee Wallace sent an acupuncturist to my home for weeks and weeks at her own expense and cured my wife during her pregnancy. She cured her. And it's the nicest thing anyone ever did.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's the best story ever. That's amazing. Well, Dan, thank you for doing this. Like I said, I could have done a whole hour with you, so I appreciate it. Good luck on the book. I'm going to be buying it as soon as we go to commercial. So thank you, my friend.
Thanks, Ben. It's on Amazon. Flirting with Fame on Amazon. Thank you.
Thank you. You can buy Flirting with Fame, as Dan said, on Amazon or wherever books are sold. We're going to take a break. Oh, the big rebuttal of my TV opening credit list when we come back. Back in a moment. Y'all have a lot to say.